Yo, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of the It's Needed podcast, where we discuss real issues involving law enforcement in the community. It's your boy Ryan Tillman, founder of Breaking Barriers United, and I am joined by the light-skinned wonder himself, Mr. Oh No, it's the Popo. Can I get a applause over there, Billy? Come on, man. Come on, hit me with the thing. There we go.
Yeah,
there we go. We're in the building. I am joined by the savage himself, Billy. What's going on, Billy?
We are live again. Hello, everyone.
We are live again. We also got a special guest in our studio, my boy, Mr. Steven Hollowell. What's up, Steve? You can't hear. Oh, actually, give him a mic. Give him a mic.
If I can really talk. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we got my. Hey, we are live and doing it, y'all. So,
you didn't tell me that's who it was,
huh?
You didn't tell me that's who it was. You were like, my man Steve. I was like, who is Steve?
No, I did say Steve Hollowell. Anyways,
no, you didn't say the whole name.
No, I said Steve. But man, it is good to be back, guys. We are scrambling like always, stressing out to make sure that we are doing this the right way and that we have no errors. And so Billy, man, just turns into a different animal when he gets going. He's like, when his game face is, you guys got to see Billy's game face when like he's in his own, like he looks like he does not want to talk to nobody. You know that I'm not going to say the word because I don't want to get kicked off for cussing, but you know when girls will say that resting what face?
the resting Billy face. That's what that's called.
Yes,
that's what it is.
Yeah, RBF, we got resting Billy face over here. So.
We need a camera for Billy.
He has a camera.
We're figuring that out.
Billy. No, it ain't no we figured it out. You just ain't trying to be on camera.
It's just our background just look a little bad. But shout out to you guys all at Johnny, Jose, Nikki, Sagi Ligo. I don't know how to say that pronounced. DJ, Chad, all you guys. Shout out to you guys for joining us today. Happy Monday. Yeah, but it's needed, guys. We got a great show ahead of you today. We've been, doing our homework, and now that we're doing these things live, we can't be as much off script like we used to be before. What y'all didn't know behind the scenes was we would just show up 5 minutes before the podcast. Hey, what we talking about today? And then we would just roll with it. Now, because y'all see our faces live, we actually got to do it the right way now. So it's challenging us, man. But AJ, what's up on your end, bro?
Yeah, I can't call it, brother. I can't call it. The COVID still got your boy tired, man. Like I'm still like every day, like tired, can take a nap at any given time. So, but aside from that, man, too blessed to be stressed, too anointed to be disappointed.
COVID is no joke, man, and it's going around like crazy, man. Everybody's been getting it. All the people I know at work, friends, it's been going crazy. How are you feeling, Billy?
Better today. Last week, not good.
So me and Billy went on a run last week. We made a pact. We were gonna go running every other night, and then Billy counsels on me the second time. So
I got sick, man.
You had the vid?
I think so. I mean, there was one day where the headache was so bad, like I couldn't open my eyes. And since then, I've been functional, but it's been like real up and down.
Yeah. Can I share this live on my? Let me. We got a live Audible right now. I'm gonna see if I can share this.
Yeah, see if you can do it. And Steve is my boy. Steve travels with me. That's my logistics manager, but more so a friend, really good friend of mine. Thanks for coming in to the studio today. We were just so you guys know, we were sharing. Let me see if I can do it right now. Let me see if I can pull it up. I'm gonna do a live Audible while AJ does that. I'm gonna show you guys a picture really quick. I should have actually. You know what I'll do, Billy? Can I send it to you and can you put it in or no? I'm gonna send this picture to Billy real quick, and to see exactly where we've come from. So I just airdropped it to Billy. He's gonna put it in, but it's cool. I was looking back at my photos the other day, just looking at kind of the progress that we've made, and our studio is so cool. I mean, we're still almost done renovating it. We got to put up some artwork and stuff like that on the walls. We got to cover some windows up and put some sound panels up. But overall, the studio is looking phenomenal. So it's kind of cool looking back and seeing where we've come from. And so once Billy gets set up, he'll be able to put it in there, and then we'll go on and jump into today's topic. I know a lot of you guys are itching to see it. So
yeah, I think this just worked for everybody that's watching this. Let me know if you could see the live from my page, or at least I shared it. So
somebody said they like my cup. This shout out to Big Blue. So I don't know if Big Blue is watching right now, but yeah, my boy Big Blue hooked it up. I mean, this cup is legit. Now this cup has been in my studio forever, but when my studio was looking all bootleg, I mean, it wasn't. I really didn't have a place to showcase it. Now I feel like I can showcase it. I got like a Joe Rogan desk and everything now. So
a Joe Rogan desk,
not completely up there, but I mean, I feel like I'm up there. So, yeah, let me do that. What's up, guys? Somebody said not to go down a COVID hole, but our police departments mandating vaccines. I know. Good question. Not all police departments are going down that mandate route right now, but some are. So Prayfully it doesn't happen, but we'll see what happens. With that being said, while Billy works on that, what I want to do is I kind of want to get into a few things. You got it, Billy? Oh, here we go. So take a look at that picture. Make it full screen.
Hey, that was a meme right there. Billy
Look
sitting
at
just
that
like
right
that
there.
was a meme.
Look at that. I know Billy's sitting there, and it's funny because Steven is actually in that photo, and he was there. I think that was actually our first episode we ever recorded.
There's Steve right there.
Oh yeah, there goes Steve right there.
Let's
So what's
go.
up, Steve? Yeah, so we are in here. Can we hear Steve or no?
Not really.
I think.
Okay, cool. Well,
I
we got
have a
Steve there,
cutoff.
but yeah, that picture is cool. So just shout out to you guys, see where we've come from. It's actually pretty cool. So if you guys are listening to this in the car, make sure you guys go and tune into the YouTube edition so that way you can see some of these photos, and we're going to be showing some videos here. Exactly. So
I don't come bother you on the job.
All right, so well, let's go ahead and get into it, guys. There's a lot of things I want to talk about today, so I don't want to, stall over our time with just bantering around. But what I want to do is I want to talk about a hero of the day, and today we actually have multiple heroes of the day. Some of you guys have actually seen this video go viral. It went viral literally in minutes, and it comes to us out of LAPD. LAPD responded to an aircraft down. And when they arrive on scene, they just see like a chaotic scene. I mean, they see the pilot is down. But to make matters worse, this airplane just so happens to stall out on a railroad track.
Can you imagine?
No.
Like, not only did you crash an airplane, but it stopped on railroad tracks.
On the railroad track. That's like some Final Destination stuff. Like,
that's some
when you literally got a destination to die, and life is not going to let you escape out of it.
Yeah.
But they did, but these officers, they literally put themselves in harm's way. And I really just want to give a shout out to those people, those officers that were out there. I posted it up on my IG yesterday, and some people were like, oh, that's what their heroes isn't in the job title. Anybody can be labeled a hero if they do something, but people always got something negative to say. So I don't say that to detract from what this video is about, but I say that to say, don't let the haters get you down. You're always going to have haters. And so shout out to these guys. Billy, roll the tape. I want to watch this video, man. This is so phenomenal. And if you guys are in your car listening to this, you got to check out the YouTube version so you guys can see it. So go ahead and roll the tape, Billy.
Audio jumps in like 10, 15 seconds in.
It's a real plane on the railroad tracks.
Yeah, and if
the
you guys
train
are
is coming.
in the car, we're watching these guys. These officers are pulling this guy. He's down. He just crashed his airplane.
Bloody.
Second.
Dang, yo, I didn't see that part.
Oh, you didn't? That's like straight. Ooh, look at this.
What?
That's taken straight from like a movie. Like, you can't script that. I mean, that was real life. These LAPD officers put themselves in harm's way to save this guy's life.
And that was a fast train.
Oh,
that wasn't like
God.
No slow train to stop traffic. That was a fast train.
No. So, I mean, shout out to those people, man. And I say that because, man, far too often police officers get a bad rap. People say, oh, this is what we signed to do. That's what we signed up. That's why we're not heroes, yada, yada, yada. Like, forget them, because I don't care what you say. We sign up to go save people's lives every single day.
Yeah.
Every single day. Yeah, there could have been a bystander that went up there to help and stuff. And shout out to those bystanders if that's what they chose to do. But police officers, they put on a uniform, they put on a badge, they put on a gun every single day and go lay their life down to save somebody else's life and potentially sacrifice themselves for another person. I have a wife, I have 3 children, I have a good family, and it could be any second that I don't make it home to them because I'm trying to save somebody else's life. So shout out to those officers. Hey, Billy, can you give me a round of applause again with our little sound thing, because those are our heroes today. Shout out to LAPD. You guys got anything else on that before we move?
I mean, that's just like that's something you read about, like in a fictional like story. Like, you crashed a plane and it stopped on railroad, and that was a fast train. Like, it wasn't no, like, the trains that go super slow and they stop traffic and you sitting on your way to work. Like, well, I guess I'm gonna be late. No, this was a fast train.
A fast train.
And it hit probably 2 seconds, if that, after they pulled it out.
Fast. It was fast.
The people pulling them out saw it coming. You know,
yeah.
Like they were sitting there watching the train.
That's a pucker moment. You talk about a pucker moment, bro.
Yeah.
You talk about a pucker moment. It's like, hey, bro, hey, Johnny, I'm gonna need you to go ahead and get faster with that knife, man. I'm gonna need you to cut
that's when you like quit talking to God like you normally talk to God. You talk to him like he like there with you, like, all right, God, hey.
Seriously,
The
man.
guy looked knocked out. Like maybe he probably wouldn't have got out.
Yeah, and that's what makes it. That's probably what made it harder too, is because you got to imagine he just laid this plane down on a railroad track, and so I know it wasn't he didn't put it down like a pillow. So you got to imagine that was a difficult thing.
Oh,
to
his
do.
face was all bloody. Yeah, he was tore up. That's they some real heroes. Like, I mean, not only for that, but yeah, that's a heroic video. They deserve the world for that.
Yeah, exactly. So, man, shout out to him. Somebody said Steve is the man. So you got some fans in here too, Steve. You got multiple people said Steve. Somebody said Steve is a man. Maybe we have to ask Steve to the podcast as a co-host. So, hey, what I want to do too now in the transition, this is not going to be our main topic for the day. I just want to give you guys that caveat, but I do want to talk about it because it's worth talking about. We saw a video recently that came across on IG. I saw it, and I thought it was interesting. There's a lot of talk about it, whether or not it's right, whether or not it's wrong. I figured me and my boy AJ could talk about it and see whether it's right or wrong. We actually got Steven here, and Billy can chime in as well. And this actually comes to us out of AJ's state. However, this is a city of Cleveland. So Cleveland, Ohio, a little bit of background about what we're going to watch right now. We're going to watch another video, but officers respond to shots fired in the area. And this is on New Year's Eve. Now, mind you, New Year's Eve, one of the hardest things about working on New Year's Eve is you don't know whether it's fireworks, you don't know whether it's gunfire, but that's what makes it so hard, because you get shots fired calls all night, but you also get gunfire calls, or not gunfire, you get firework calls and gunfire calls all night. And so, mind you, these officers are showing up to somebody potentially shooting in the area. An officer shows up on scene, and then what we're going to do is we're going to pick up and watch this video, and we'll talk about it once we once we watch it. So go ahead and Billy, go ahead and cue the video and play it up.
44, I'm out. It's going to be, correction, it's going to be 2300 block of 10th Street, 2307 10th Street Southwest. Saw the male's head through the fence after I heard the shots. Got on my cruiser, went up to the porch, and I saw him putting the rifle away. Shots fired! Shots fired! Police! Get down now! Police! Get down now! Can't come. Shots fired. Send us everybody.
So go ahead and pause it, Billy.
He was right.
All right. Is that your first time seeing that video, AJ?
It is. Did he hit him?
Oh, he killed him. He killed him. So, so what we just watched, if you're in your car watching this, we just watched the officer respond to the shots fired. He hears a whole bunch of gunfire go off. It sounds like an automatic rifle. It's exactly what it sounds like. And then so he hears the shots going, he goes to see where it's coming from, and he sees somebody shooting from behind a fence. Now, whether or not this officer knew that this guy was shooting in the air, whether he thought that these bullets were coming at him, I don't know. That's going to be for the investigation to determine. But the question comes down to is whether or not you guys think that this was justified or not. There's a lot that goes into it, but I want to ask you guys, you got to realize too, is let's just say, we think that this officer knew that he was shooting up into the air. The question becomes, well, just because a person is shooting up in the air, does that make them not a threat? But the question we also have to ask is, or one of the things we have to remember is that what goes up must come down. Mm-hmm. So even though he's shooting into the air, maybe he's not shooting at an intended target, those bullets are going to come down. And what if those bullets strike somebody? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So this officer that I guess you can say what's what everybody is kind of saying is like this guy shot at behind a target without actually seeing what was behind the fence or anything like that. That's what people are saying, which is making it so controversial. He was shooting at a target where he couldn't see behind. And so the officer ends up shooting the guy in his chest, and the guy ends up dying. They call everybody out of the house. They go into the house, they render aid to him, but the guy succumbs to his wounds on the scene. So what's your guys' thoughts on that?
Well, and he can see the muzzle flash.
Yeah.
I mean, and so someone have to give me a good argument against that. But like, if someone's in my neighborhood and has put up at least 25 rounds into the sky, how are they not a threat?
Yeah. So that's the that's the crazy part about it. And I know most major cities don't really respond to like shots fired runs during that time, like on New Year's Eve, just because you get so many. So here where I work, we have a technology called Shot Spotter, and there's microphones all over the city. And what it is that when someone pops off a round, 3 microphones pick it up, and then it triangulates it, and then it drops a pin on a map right where the round was popped off. And it's like crazy fast. Like we've heard gunshots, and before I've been able to mark, like they've been dispatching us. Like it's really cool technology. But I had to turn it off on my phone because it was just chaos like all night. So we won't respond to those runs unless someone calls and says like they were shooting at me, you know, like something to that effect around that time, just because we get so many, and we really want to avoid situations like that where somebody's like just, and I shouldn't say just, but where somebody's coming outside popping off rounds in the air, and then we have to engage with them. But that's a tough one. If for anyone that's saying, oh, he shot through a fence, like that can't be justified. Like I shot someone through a door, and mine was completely justified because he was trying to stab the other half of me that was in a door with a needle full of heroin. So like, as long as you could articulate like this is the area in which I believe the threat is at, and you can account for those rounds, which it sounds like his rounds hit his intended target. That's kind of a hard one to argue. But yeah, that's a tough position to be in. And that was definitely a rifle, by the way. That was
it definitely was. And here's the interesting thing. The interesting thing is that the officer, before the shooting happens, the officer says, hey, he saw me come around the corner, then he goes to put the rifle away. So then that begs the question is like, okay, if this guy saw the officer pull up and then he still picks the rifle back up and starts shooting again.
Yeah.
Now it almost begs the question, like, okay, is this person shooting at me now? Because if he saw me put the rifle away, that means he has to go back and pick it up if it's the same person that he saw.
Yeah.
And if he has to pick it back up and now he's firing again, if I'm the officer out there, this is just me. Now I'm thinking, okay, this person is shooting at me. He saw him here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah.
It's like
you come out the door, start shooting off.
Yeah, exactly. You're challenging them and stuff. So that's one thing to keep in mind, no doubt about it, when we're actually talking about what this officer's mindset was. But the guy had a fully automatic assault rifle, no doubt about it, and he was letting rounds off. So
that was Cleveland, Ohio?
That was Cleveland.
Man, that's the first time I've seen that. I even heard about it. That's crazy.
Yeah. So somebody asked the question, did he give him a warning? I don't think he gave the guy a warning, which for case law, and a lot of people know this, and my buddy that sent this question in, obviously we don't have to give a warning if we can't. Essentially, they want us to give a warning in the event that we can. One would argue that he had plenty of time to give an argument or to give a warning. One would argue that he didn't have time. So will that come into play? Maybe, but I think what it's going to come down to is what was that officer's mindset and what did he feel? What was his need for stopping that threat right away? So, and I think this is going to be a long investigation. So people that think this is going to be decided and determined overnight, that's not going to happen here. So they got him on leave right now.
I'm curious what like the headlines are saying. Like, did we have any of those? I'm gonna pull some up just really quick while we're talking about it. Cleveland officer, New Year's Eve shooting, because so it'd be some crazy headlines.
Yeah, absolutely. And so somebody else said that this is a good one too. It's different watching from a camera. In the officer's mind, he's probably thought he was getting shot at,
100%.
or the person is possibly shooting at someone. You're absolutely right. I mean, we have the luxury of watching that video from our computers, wherever we're at right now. Yep. We don't have the luxury of being out there, especially if you've never been in a situation where you've heard live gunfire. It changes your whole mindset. I mean, I don't care. Somebody can sit here all day long and say, oh, no, man, he clearly knew he wasn't shooting at him or blah, 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 blah. No, it's different, especially when you're talking about a rifle. I mean, a gun in general, automatically, makes you pucker up a little bit. But when you hear an automatic assault rifle going off, oh, man, your mind starts playing all sorts of games with you. So, yeah, that's a great point to bring up, no doubt about it.
Yeah. The headlines aren't actually too bad. So it's Canton, Ohio. Which isn't too far from Cleveland, but like New York Times, Ohio officer shoots through fence, killing a man who was firing a gun. So they're not horrible. Sometimes you read headlines, you be like,
oh, sometimes. Well, with the headlines we read last week about the officer that killed a 14-year-old at Burlington Coat Factory, those were some terrible headlines. So yeah. Let's take one more. We'll take one more comment before we move on. Somebody said, was the suspect the only one outside? In my state, discharging a firearm in the air is a misdemeanor. I get the gravity argument. That's a crazy situation at the end of the day. Plus the mindset of the suspects to completely disregard the officer in the first place. Yeah. So these are all good arguments. These are all things that are going to come into play when they determine whether or not this was a justified shooting or not.
AJ, do you know if it's a misdemeanor where you are at or what it is?
Yeah, so discharging a firearm, let me think, I gotta be careful how I say this, but recently there was an incident where someone retrieved a firearm and popped off rounds in the air, pretty close to officers. I mean, pretty close. And it's a misdemeanor. It's just discharging within city limits. It's a misdemeanor charge, but the degree of the charge really doesn't play into a factor like that, because the officer will have to articulate that he was in fear for his safety or someone else's safety by him doing that action. So the degree of his actions with firing the gun, he could have not fired the gun at all and began pointing at the officer, right? So I get what you're saying, which is why I said like it's a tricky situation to be in, because as we all know, a lot of people are going outside and firing their guns off. There's always a clip from Central Ohio that goes viral, and it did this year. It does every single year, where somebody stands outside and records, and it sounds like you are in like Iraq or Afghanistan.
Oh
like
yeah,
in the middle of the war. I mean, it's just fully automatic guns, big old 50 cals, like you name it. So
one would argue too. I mean, it's not the best decision to go outside and point your assault rifle in the air to start letting rounds off for that reason and that reason alone. So
yeah, 100%. I'm gonna see if I can find this clip just really quick.
It's ridiculous, and the fact that so many people are doing it.
Yeah, I know. Well,
maybe I'm naive, but that just seems ridiculous.
It's the times we're living in. It's the times we're living in, sadly, and people are gonna do dumb things, and so but as AJ pulls that up, what I want to start to do is I want to transition to our topic of the day. So we start talking about the topic of the day. Before I pull the article up, I want to show you guys what the topic of the day is. And as I show you guys what the topic of the day is, well, I want to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on it. Go ahead. You got it, AJ?
Yeah, I'm gonna just start it from the beginning real quick. We could just listen to like a small clip of it. It's a 10-minute video, but it gives you an idea.
Columbus, Ohio, Hilltop West Side.
That's crazy.
Do you guys have stats on how many people die from stray bullets or anything?
We got about
I don't even know if that's trackable.
20 seconds to go until
I mean, I'm sure it's the way to track it, but I don't know what that would be.
And it's citywide.
That's nuts.
Yeah, and it goes on like that. That wasn't even 12 o'clock yet. He said we still got like 20 seconds until.
Imagine the people that have PTSD, bro. You're gonna need to throw some studio beats on your ears, bro, and block all
like
that
my dog.
out.
I got my dog from a shooting. He be out here
your dog. You got the trap house dog. AJ saved the
my
dog.
dog be busting back. Bow, bow, bow.
Fireworks, yeah.
I know. So, Billy, go ahead and pull up the topic for the day. Let's talk about this topic. And Steve, actually, I'm gonna have you chime in here in a little bit too.
Is that the one?
No, there's a topic slide. That's the heroes of the day. We already covered that, Billy. See, look at Billy about to get fired.
Today's topic. There's the topic slide,
so
we fired Billy. The podcast is through.
I know, right? Yeah,
you're right here like.
So here's today's topic. And before I actually pull the reason why I chose this as today's topic up, I want to hear your guys' opinions on it, as well as our audience. So today's topic: should social workers respond in lieu of police officers to mental health calls or child welfare calls for service? That has been a subject for debate, especially at the end when George Floyd was killed. A lot of people started going on this defund the police movement, and one of the things that came up in this whole defund the police movement is we should start having social workers respond in lieu of police officers, specifically on calls like this, which are mental health related or child welfare calls related. And so, obviously, I know what I say. We've actually talked about this topic before, but there's another reason I wanted to bring it back up. And so, before I get to the reason why I chose this topic for today, I want to hear your guys' thoughts. AJ, I'll start with you. Then I'm gonna turn it over to Steven, and then I'll turn it over to Billy. Even though Billy's not a police officer, he gives that insight from a civilian. So go ahead, AJ.
So I might just no. Like the answer is no for me. I do not believe that they should in lieu of police officers, but I do believe that it can be beneficial if they go with a police officer, but then that adds another element for the responding officers have to worry about. So now the officer doesn't have to worry about just his safety and the suspect or the person that they're interacting with safety. They have to worry about this civilian that they brought with them as well. Where I work, we have a program or a unit that does that for like mental health crisis individuals who are experiencing like some sort of like mental health thing going on. We have officers who are in a cruiser, and then we have a civilian social worker that are with them. Now, keep in mind, they have a tactical vest on with, like, they have a bulletproof vest on when they ride with us. And it's been pretty effective. It has been pretty effective. But I think sending social workers instead of police officers is a very dangerous game to play.
I agree. What are your thoughts, Steven?
We're trying to use this. We can use this mic. Okay.
Oh, there you go.
We have this conversation all the time at work because I work with a group of people. My partner went to school. He has his master's degree in social work. It's less than 3% of people in social work want to do crisis. So even if they could do it by yourself, you would not have a work group to go out there and do it. So we have an idea that there's people who want to go run and be a social worker in crisis. That's not true. They want to be, most of the population, 97%, want to be in a office with a chair, and they don't want the surrounding situation that they would be responded to do their social work. So domestic violence sentence. They don't want to go and be with the dad and the mom and the grandma and whoever else is going to be involved. They just want to talk to the one person that needs their social working abilities. So I don't think there's ever going to be a time where that is ever going to happen because we don't have the population of social workers who want to do that.
Gotcha. What about you, Billy? What do you think? And really quickly, let me read this comment real quick.
Yep.
Somebody said, yes, if the person is a minor or has no propensity for violence and the family is present, if it is a call for service of a guy in the street having an episode and it's a passerby that's calling it in, then officers should respond first. But go ahead, Billy.
Yeah, I don't have as much experience to really have much of an opinion, but I think it sounds ideal. Like, hey, if we can have a social worker go that's trained in mental health, awesome. But that, like you were saying, there's not enough to go out. And why want to be the person called into crazy situations who's not armed, like the one person who's not armed, So I think, like everyone else is saying, if they're with officers, that'd be great.
Okay. Before I give you guys my opinion, I want you to go ahead and put up the article. And this is why we're having this conversation. The article comes to us out of Chicago, Illinois. It says social workers feel safety remains concern after killing. The death of Deidre Silas has raised questions of why caseworkers are sent into potentially volatile environments alone. It says Deidre Silas, an investigator with the Illinois Department of Children and Family Services, was stabbed to death last Tuesday when she responded to a call of a possible child endangerment in a home in the central Illinois town of Thayer.
That's horrible.
This is not the first time I've seen this. This actually happened in Seattle. It's happened many of times. And the reason that's such a big topic, and this is such a thing we need to discuss, I think there's two sides of it. Do I think that there are benefits to having social workers responding to calls for service? I think there is a benefit, but only if the situation permits. And what do I mean by that? I mean by when you're sending a person into a known environment as opposed to an unknown environment. For example, in my current assignment, I do a lot of stuff with homeless people, and we actually work with a group. It's called the Social Work Action Group. And so our job is to go and contact homeless people on a regular basis. And then once we see them and we'll see what they're up to, then we'll contact SWAG. That's what they're called, SWAG. They'll come out there, and then they'll actually come and talk to them and then help give them the resources to get them off the street. That's a known environment because they've already had police officers go to the scene, screen the scene, and now you can send social workers in after the fact to do what they do best and excel in their expertise. But when you're sending social workers into an unknown environment, that's where things kind of get iffy. If you're sending a social worker into a situation like this, which after reading the article, it sounds like there was staffing, going back to what Steven says, staffing was a huge issue. And so what these social workers have found themselves having to do is they have to contact a local police agency wherever they're going and see if they have somebody can send out. So this person went to multiple places. They went to the first place, found out the child they were looking for was not there. And so they found out the child was in another location. So therefore they had to go to a different spot. But in doing so, that social worker was like, hey, I don't think I'm going to necessarily hit up the new agency just because it's going to take too much time. And this child could be in danger. So I want to go and try to get this child now. Therefore, they didn't hit up a local agency to come with them. They just responded on their own. So that causes a lot of issues. And this is a prime example why I don't think we should be sending social workers in to a situation by themselves, because you're dealing with a lot of unknown. And unless you're going to train social workers like you train police, then we shouldn't be sending them by themselves to do a police officer's job. We should
Mhm.
allow the officers to go out there, make sure that the scene is secure, safe, and everything like that. And then you can bring in the social workers after the fact, so that way they can handle their business. That's my opinion on it. And we've had social workers. I don't know if we had a social worker on this podcast before, but that's something to think about. I mean, what are your guys' opinions? I know I've got a lot of people coming, sending some comments, and I'm start putting them in now.
Yeah, let me see. I can't see the comments. Like, I always go full screen, cut the comments off. Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I agree, man. This is I think when we originally talked about this, this is something we kind of predicted that would happen, that a social worker would eventually get hurt and or seriously or lose their life. And that's unfortunate. That's very unfortunate. But it just goes to show, like, when there's such a focus on anti-police and like finding a way to get rid of the police instead of pouring more training into police officers, you're going to continue to have these bumps and these tragic incidents. So yeah.
Isn't it logical to believe that if you only send social workers, somebody's going to get hurt? Like, we live in this great America. We see what goes on every day.
Well,
You can get on the press conference and say, oh, social workers, but logically in the back of your head, you know that someone's going to get hurt if we do that process.
yeah, but when you think of it that way, you also have to ask yourself, wouldn't it be logical that to say getting rid of the police is a bad idea? But there's people out there that believe that, or
Truly
at
believe
least
that.
or at least people out there that want us to believe that they believe that, for whatever reasons. Um, so I think we all seen it coming. It's very unfortunate. It's a tragedy, but it just goes to show you, like, this is real. Like we can post these things online and be super loud about things that we're not very knowledgeable about. But at the end of the day, like, this is real. Like, we're talking about people's lives here.
No, we are. I like what King SG97 had to say. He said, I think that instead of having social workers respond to calls, it would be much better if police departments made a requirement to have certain credits on psychology. Now, that's definitely a good argument. And I think I told somebody, actually, I was interviewed by Fox about a year ago, and the same question was asked to me on Fox. And the way I answered it is a lot of times people think that we can't do both. For whatever reason, people just automatically assume that we can't do both as police officers. Why can't we train police officers to have more training in psychology? Now, obviously, going and getting a psychology degree and all the other stuff, that's not necessarily realistic, because that adds to the time of a person. And right now, when you already have a profession that's struggling to hire people, there's already difficulty in getting and fulfilling spots that need to be filled. But I do think that we can do more and more training when it comes to psychological training or whatever it may be. So that way, when we respond to calls, we can identify that this is a health concern or child safety concern, or mental health concern or child safety concern, and at least have the ability to assess it and then bring in the right personnel that needs to come in.
Yeah.
But when you're dealing with unknowns, and that's what a lot of the people that say, oh, we need to send social workers in and all this other stuff, what they're not accounting for is they're not accounting for the unknowns. Like, there are so many unknowns. How many times have AJ, you or Bill or Steven gone to a call that ended up going a way that you had least idea it would have went that way? Like, you pulled up, thought it was going to be one thing, and then you leave. It was like, bro, I did not expect that call to go that way.
I showed up to a run. The call was, a woman called and said, hey, there's an aggressive panhandler at this intersection, meaning there's a homeless person that's aggressively asking for money, right? Super low priority call. I mean, the lowest of the low, right? So we happen to be close. We pull up. This dude is butt naked and throws poop at us.
Oh my goodness. That's almost as bad as your pee story, bro, when they threw piss at you.
Oh yeah. That's
That's
another
example.
example.
Share that again before we get off this
A lot of
podcast.
bodily fluids and stuff being thrown
Bro, that
out.
was you might have to share that story again before we get off here, bro, because I haven't laughed so hard in a while, bro. So I might need to hear that before we get off today's podcast.
Yeah. But that just goes to show you, like, every single run that a police officer goes to is unknown, because it could change by the time that we get there. We may not have had all the details. So that's what makes our job so dangerous, right? Like if we knew what we were getting into, then our job wouldn't really be that dangerous at all because we could prepare for it as best as we could. But what makes our job dangerous is we don't know. We don't know what's going on. We have the information we have, and we work with it.
The people really pushing this stuff, they probably believe that the police officers are always in the fault for when something goes wrong. So like if we send people who aren't officers and not armed, it'll never go bad because the officers are always the one that up the ante. Like that's probably what they believe.
Oh yeah,
And
absolutely.
obviously that's not true. I think every
Absolutely.
normal thinking person thinks that.
I'll say this, and I believe this wholeheartedly. The people who believe that live in an area where they don't need the police. They've never been in a situation where they needed the police. They've never been in an area where they felt unsafe. The people who need the police, the people who live in the areas that need the police, love the police.
Absolutely.
And I could say that because I've spent every bit of the 10+ year career that I have as a law enforcement officer in those areas. And it's weird, the dynamic, because you have group A, right? That's like, we don't need the police. We could do this without ourselves. I'm in a $500,000, $1 million mansion. And then you have group B that's in an inner city or a high crime area that loves us. But then group A is using group B as an example of why to not like the police. And it's like, what? Like, how does this work?
Yeah. What were you going to say, Stephen?
I don't even think we account for how much training we do have. We keep saying more training, more training. I've over 15 years of experience, and I've been to a 1-week mental health class given by the Department of Mental Health recently, and I do very well on mental health calls. And so we need to start accounting for the training that we
That
do
is
have
a great point to
stop
bring up.
saying, oh, they need more training. I had the training. Maybe the family enabled this person to continue the mental health thing, because that's really the thing. The people who have mental health and are causing problems don't have a bottom because their mom loves them so much that they don't do anything and they just hope for the best until the last minute. Then they call us and it's too late.
That's a wonderful point to bring up because we always talk about, and you just hit the nail right on the head. Oh, they don't have enough training. They don't have enough training. I'm telling you now, at least at my department, we train a lot. Now, can we always do more training? Absolutely. I mean, we could train every single day if we could, but it's just not realistic because there's a lot of things that account for that: money, time, actually to spend in training, and so much other things. But we have a lot of training here in Southern California, or in California in general, because we have what's called the standardized post. And so that's just your minimum training that we have to do. That's not equating for everything that the department wants you to go through. So we have the standardized post, which is what's required to be an officer in the state of California. But then you also have, every department has their own minimums training that they do quarterly. And so I think you're right about that, Stephen. One of the frustrating things is we're so caught up on they need more training. But the reality is people just don't know the amount of training that we have. And then they see something go south on a video and they automatically assume that, oh, we weren't trained to handle a certain situation. And that's the frustrating part.
So
how many times have we all three gone back to the station and talked with the mental health clinician about 3 or 4 cases and what we should do and what we shouldn't do and what would be the safe? That's continuing training when we are talking about our experiences, and people want us to go to a class, and we can go to the class, but those continuing trainings, when we are in the station and talking to the mental health professional and we're trading tactics and stories, we don't account for that. But we do when it comes to narcotics. We do when it comes to SWAT callouts. We always talk about in the field training or senior officers. It's the same, but we just don't. It's not quantifiable.
So in order, the bare minimum, I'm talking bare bone minimum requirement that you must meet to become a police officer as far as hours of training goes in the state of Ohio is 737 hours of training. Bare minimum.
Well, what is ours, Stephen?
1,056 for basic recruit.
Oh,
wow.
Okay, Cali gonna show us up.
Hey, we're gonna do what we're gonna do.
Now, is that the state mandated minimum or is that your department's minimum?
That's the post mandated.
That's the state mandate.
Okay.
State mandate.
Let me see.
There's a reason why I look at AJ like, let me go ahead and pull up my Google real quick, make sure. I think we gotta have more than Cali. But while he's doing that, while he's pulling it up, there's some good comments coming in. Somebody said, how about a quick certification for police officers and social work or social services? The thing is that, okay, let's break this down. Let's say they do give us a certification for social services. Now, is that going to take away for the certification that a social worker would get? Because in order for them to give us a certificate for social services, that would mean we'd have to spend a lot of time, I would imagine, studying psychology or whatever it is. Because I can imagine it don't just take a social worker to get their social work bachelor degree or whatever in a matter of 6 months or whatever it may be. So it would almost take away from the value of a social worker who's truly getting their psychology degree. So I think, kind of going back to my original point, is we can add more training on these topics, and we need to train officers up to assess the situation enough to where they can make the decision of what needs to happen after that social worker has come out to the scene, or after you've already come out there and assessed the situation.
I'm gonna just throw this out there. My department requires 1,200 minimum to be on there, so I'm just sprinkle that in there as like a little rebuttal. But you also have to keep in mind the constant training that we go through, like the in-service training, the what's it called? I'm having a brain fart here, but there's so much training that officers go through like annually as well. So but there'll always be something, you know what I mean? Like if we're super squared away with like mental health, then it will be, well, you need training in this now, you need training in that now. And I'm not saying that we should shy away from training and trying to be the best version that we can. But as Steven said, like, you got to give us a little bit of credit because we are highly trained as is.
I mean, every day you don't hear about an incident is a day of success. How many mental health calls do we go to in all these major metropolitan cities? It's probably 30% of our call load.
Wow. Yeah.
On a given day, it could be 50% of our call load. Because we
Right.
have domestic violence day. Then we got mental illness day. It seems like that's the type of call that comes out all day that day. So every day that you don't hear about a major incident is a extreme success.
Right.
We have a phenomenal batting average that people don't realize. Like,
oh my goodness,
the amount of times that we make mistakes compared to the amount of times that we do it right, it's unmatched. I would be willing to compare the mistakes made by law enforcement up against other professions that make mistakes as well. And I'm almost positive you would see that law enforcement is not making as many mistakes that we're led to believe. It doesn't mean that we don't make mistakes as police officers. We undoubtedly do. But compared to a lot of other professions, our batting average is pretty good. I mean, but the sad thing is, and here's the sad reality is, people are expecting a perfect cop. A perfect cop does not exist. A perfect police officer, it doesn't exist, because we're human. There's always going to be room for error no matter what you do. And sometimes that error is fatal and it sucks. But it doesn't mean that the whole profession in its entirety is corrupt. It doesn't mean that the whole profession in its entirety is not trained well. It just means that, there's room for human error. And so, why we have this podcast, everything like that, is because we recognize that we can get better, but we can't be led astray and start to think that the whole profession is just so darn terrible that now all of a sudden these officers need this crazy amounts of training that you got. What the other thing you don't realize is that we already got a lot of stuff going on as it is. So to ask officers to do more, and then on top of that, you want to defund police, but where do you think this money comes from to do this? Or where do you think the money comes from to do this training? You know what I mean? So we need money to do this training.
I think people really still trust us, though. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, without a doubt.
We have a certain amount of calls per year that we get, right? Every year it gets more. It's not less. So if we were an untrusted body, people wouldn't call.
Exactly.
Don't trust them.
Yeah, exactly.
They did the wrong thing, so I'm not going to call them.
Yep.
But people call us for things that they can handle on their own. Can you tell my neighbor to cut the music down?
Oh yeah, right.
I know who she is.
Yeah.
I don't like her like this.
There's kids playing basketball in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
The next door neighbor's dog's been barking.
No, we can't.
You can't say no.
You say no to nothing.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much. And don't let that person call city council member or the chief or something like that. You better believe we're gonna be out for like
one run. Yeah, that's a priority run. Yeah.
Leslie said, learn about autistic adults. Leslie, we do learn about autistic adults. We learn about all sorts. I remember taking a class about mental health. Yeah, and we've done so many drills like that. I remember we took a class one time about learning about schizophrenia, and they had us put on headphones, and they had us do this activity where you have to listen to the instructions of the person that's in front of you while listening to all this chatter in your ears. And then they basically say, hey, look, follow the instructions that the person is telling you to do. and you can't do it. You can't follow the instructions because you got all these voices and stuff on in your ears, your headphones.
Yeah.
And so they put us through training like that. And I use that as an example. That's not necessarily for autistic adults, but as more so just to show you they're training us in ways that you would never expect. And so I can't say that everybody's getting trained like that, but I will tell you that a lot of people are getting trained. Before we continue this convo, because I know Stephen has something, make sure you guys are hitting this like button. If you guys are enjoying this conversation, make sure you guys are hitting this like button because it helps us up in the algorithm so that way we continue to share this good content. Go ahead, Stephen.
I got sidetracked by that last comment because I think it goes with the context. I don't trust the police.
I was just going to address that.
It's kind of like because we have nobody else to call.
Oh, so I don't trust the police. If I call, it's because my rule is falling. So, okay, so let's address it.
I think that's better to go. I was
So I don't know who I'm talking to. I appreciate whoever it is, man. Thanks for subscribing, or who, if it's a woman, thank you for tuning in. I understand you may not trust police. And for those that are listening to this in their car, the comment says, I don't trust police. If I call, it's because my world is absolutely falling apart. So I understand that you may not trust the police, but here's the reality is that in the situation, in that day that your world is falling apart, do you trust us enough to handle that situation when your world is coming down? And if you trust us enough to handle your situation when your world is absolutely falling apart, you should trust us for the smaller things as well. Because I'm telling you now, if I don't trust somebody, I'm not going to trust them at all. I'm not, you know what I mean? Like if there's a friend that I know I absolutely can't trust, I'm probably not even going to call that person when my world is absolutely falling apart simply because I know they may not even answer the call. And so you have to realize that, yeah, there are some bad officers out there. Yeah, we've done some bad things in our history's past, but not every single officer is like that. I mean, me, AJ, and Steven are prime examples. And now I'm not trying to say I'm a perfect cop, but what I am trying to say is our heart is in the right place. I'll use this example and then I'll turn it over to you guys. Is sometimes if let's say you have a friendship with somebody and your friend does something against you that you absolutely it pisses you off, it makes you so upset. When we're on the receiving end of that person of being mad from that person, we automatically get all mad and upset. But one of the things that we fail to do as human beings is we fail to think about, was there any malice associated behind that person's actions? And what I mean by malice, like, did they intend to piss me off? Was what they did they set out to go out there and piss me off from the very beginning? And I guarantee you, majority of the times when people piss us off, there's really no malice behind what they did. A lot of times it happens because they weren't thinking, or they just, made a mistake. And when you think about the person's heart, when you think about whether or not they had any malice or not, it will actually make you start to feel better because you realize, like, hey, look, what they did was a mistake. It's not that they trying to wrong me. When we should be mad is when you know somebody's absolutely trying to wrong you. And so I use that as an example when it comes to police. Or are police out there to intentionally make your day terrible? Have there been police like that? Yes. Are a majority of police like that? No. So that's why you should trust us, or be willing to trust us. And when it comes to the day where you don't absolutely need us, what do you guys think on that?
You know what you'll never see me do? Like, ever? Swim with sharks. You know why?
Because they
Because
bite.
I don't trust sharks.
Mm-hmm.
Under no circumstances whatsoever will you ever see AJ swim with sharks, because I don't trust sharks. That mindset is the same mindset of what we experienced during the riots. People were saying they're so terrified and afraid of the police, but yet they're like fighting with us and interacting with us and pushing us and throwing stuff at us. It's like, you ain't that afraid of the police, because if I was in a shark tank, the last thing I'm gonna do is punch the shark. I don't trust the shark. I'm afraid of the shark, right? That's that same mindset. It's almost like we've been told this time and time and time again, that we try to convince ourselves that that's what we think and that's what we believe. When that's really not the truth. That's really not the truth. Do I think that people have a fear of police to an extent? Yes, but it's not to the extent of like, I'm terrified of the police. I don't trust the police at all. It's just like, that's not it. That's not a reality. A majority of people, as Steven said, trust us. They trust us. Not only do they trust us, but they support us.
Yeah.
I have had more people go out of their way to tell me how much they support me and my service as a police officer within the past year than I have in the past 10 years of my service.
Yeah. What were you going to say, Steve?
I'm agreeing with AJ. I'm shaking my head vigorously. I know you can't see me, but while you're yelling at me, cussing at me, and calling me names, you must trust me. not to take out my gun and do something bad to you.
Yes.
You must trust me enough not to take out my taser. You trust me enough not to just run up and front kick you down to the ground. Otherwise, you wouldn't say those things.
Mhm.
But you do trust me.
Mhm.
You trust that I'm professional. Otherwise, because you know, back in the day, 60s, 70s, 80s,
Yeah.
there wasn't that much trust. 'Cause,
Right.
you might get
For rightful
C-clamped.
reasons. And people get confused that the 60s and the policing of the 60s, 70s, and 80s is the same policing of today. And right, and I mean, if you have somebody like an adult, like my dad or somebody like that, I could understand why they may not have a legitimate trust, because we got to be real. Policing was different back then. We
For
hear
sure.
all the time within the walls of our police stations, policing was different.
Mhm.
And so if you have certain people that grew up during that era, their distrust may be legitimate, but we can't always get confused and assume that the policing of the 70s and 80s is the policing of today. It
Yeah.
ain't the same. Now, there may be places like some very what do you call it? What's the area when it's like remote areas? There may be some remote areas where policing may be different,
Mhm.
but it ain't this. I mean, I can tell you now, especially nowadays, every policer's fear the moment they go in their police car is not getting in trouble for doing something they shouldn't have been doing, or not getting in trouble, or doing something that was presumed to be bad. So, I mean, if we were legitimately out there to do something that's corrupt, I think you'd be hearing a lot more about it. So that's just my 2 cents. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but this is
Mhm.
definitely a good conversation.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Billy, you
So,
quiet.
Oh, I'm good. Just nothing to add to this.
There's like,
I just like I like
putting.
putting Billy on the spot during the live shows because
You
it just
do.
adds
Yes, you do.
pressure.
So,
Billy, you got on some Crocs right now?
No, got on some black Vans, classic
Ooh.
look, you know.
Got my Vans on, but they look
Yep.
like
Somebody
sneakers.
said, "Don't break the law. You'll really meet police." Absolutely right. And then somebody also said that the 90s and 2000s too. I've seen some dirty cops, but to say it's still like that is just lying to yourself. You're absolutely right. So, hey guys, before we go into One Has to Go, I'm going to tell you one more time. You guys are doing a phenomenal job, but make sure you guys give us a like, subscribe to this podcast, subscribe on YouTube, Facebook, because again, it helps with the algorithm. But I only want you to do if you think this is a nice podcast and you like it, because I'm telling you, this conversation, it's needed. It needs to be heard with more people. And the only way we're going to do that is by people hitting the like button and subscribing. So go ahead, AJ, before we move on.
Yeah, I just want to give, I want to start doing this. I want to start giving our viewers and listeners who happen to be police officers, or maybe your city council mayor or whatever, but have some sort of pool, little nuggets, because people hit me up all the time asking what they can do to help bridge the gap between like law enforcement and communities, and what kind of events can they do. So I'm gonna just give you this one that I'm currently working on where I work is find a retirement home, find a nursing home or something to that effect, and start working with them to throw a Valentine's Day event. That's a major event coming up. All right. Valentine's Day is coming up. You have a month to plan for it. So find some sort of elderly community in the area that you serve. Go to that business, call them, and tell them us as the department, as the police, want to pour into our elderly community. What would that look like? So whether that looks like you throwing a party for them, catering food, whatever it is, this is your opportunity to do so. This is your opportunity.
Man, that's excellent. What other words of wisdoms you got, Steven?
Oh, is it words of wisdom time?
Yeah, nugget time.
Nugget time. I was just thinking of when we were talking about this whole.
Oh, Ryan done got kicked out the live and left your boy in here, and I don't know what I'm doing. So this is about to get interesting. I'm gonna see if I can't add him back, or maybe he can add himself, because y'all don't want to listen to me. Don't want to listen to me, but y'all might. Let me see. Give me 1 second. Billy is probably losing his mind right now, by the way.
Wait,
there he is.
Hey, can you hear me, AJ?
I can hear you.
Yeah, Ryan had to step out, so I think when we disable his video, my audio goes down. So we're just gonna leave a blank chair there, which is embarrassing.
No, that's fine. That's fine. What's funny is you caught me in the middle of saying Billy is probably freaking out right now. Well, I hope everything is all right with him. So should I send us off? Oh, okay.
Taking over for Ryan here. What's up, everyone?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. So
Yes.
he's like, what did I leave people with? I just wanted to leave with people with discipline. You know, folks are more disciplined than you imagine. There's a lot of chaos going on around us, especially in law enforcement. And the focus for most of the officers that I deal with, and I'm sure the same for you, AJ, is we're pretty disciplined.
Mhm.
And so I would tell the viewers or the listeners to be disciplined. You know,
There you go.
I know
I
it
like
sounds kind of cliche, but
No,
do the
that's
right thing
good,
when
man.
nobody else is looking.
That's right. No, I like it. I like it. You good, brother?
Bro, the thing about going live now, see, when you got to use the bathroom or something like that, you can just cut and stuff, do takes. Like now we live, bro. I'm like, golly.
Bro, I thought something was wrong, bro.
Oh, bro, I'm like,
Woo! We need to invent some sort of solution that you can go
oh,
live
God,
on
man.
air.
Yeah, I know, right? Put something underneath the desk.
Oh,
I
hey.
can catch those nuggets. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say shout out to Billy for just stepping
Oh,
up. He
standing
put the
in, bro.
headphones on.
That's
He's
why
like,
I got you.
I've been waiting for this moment.
Hey, we got a like for that. See, at least y'all know we real. Thank you for giving us that like. But hey, guys, I didn't catch your nuggets, but I will tell you guys this. My nuggets for the day is you know what? It's 2022. Have a positive attitude. Let's be transformed. Seriously, let wherever you're at right now, wherever you're listening to us from, have a transformational 2022. If that means that you're going to lose some weight, if that means you're going to get that job, if that means that you're going to get that assignment, if that means that you're going to stand up to somebody that's been beating you down, have a transformational 2022. That's what my goal is to do. I want God to put me in a position that is uncomfortable, but I want him to make me comfortable as I'm going through that uncomfortness. That may sound weird, but you know what? It's sometimes in order to go up, you have to go through things. And so I want God to make me comfortable with the uncomfortable. And so I just really, I send a shout out to all you guys that are tuning in today. I appreciate you guys for watching this podcast because we couldn't do this podcast without you. So with that, drum roll. We still got to get a drum roll, but I'll do a little drum roll. Do you have a drum roll, Billy? We don't got a drum roll yet.
No, nothing yet, guys.
All right, there we go. Thank you. All right, so drum roll. So
I would like everyone to just appreciate our graphic design.
I did that. I did that, by the way.
First off, hey,
Billy's like, this is the last time I will allow you to do graphic design work. That was like that was like a shot at me.
Bro,
Good.
when Billy has a belly laugh, it is the funniest thing in the world, bro. Like, all I picture are Billy's shoulders going up like this. Like,
oh man. All right, y'all. So with that being said, I'm gonna let y'all stop laughing at me. We about to become enemies right now. So it's football season, y'all. My Niners made it to the playoffs. Shout out to them. Can I get an applause for that? Since that's the only sound effect we got. We get an applause for that. My Niners made it to the playoffs. And so there's going to be a lot of people attending playoff and Super Bowl parties. And so in light of football season and what's about to come, is the national championship game? That's tomorrow, right? Can't remember for college. But anyways, in light of all that, the one has to go is going to be party foods. All right. So I want all you guys to tune in that are comments that are watching this right now. I want you guys to tell us what one is going for you. So Billy hit us with the first one. First one is buffalo wings. Buffalo wings. If we had to get rid of one thing forever, this is the one thing that you would get rid of. So number one is buffalo wings. Billy, hit us with number two. Nachos.
Loaded nachos.
Not loaded nachos. I'm not just talking about the regular tortilla chips with the bootleg cheese. I'm talking about loaded nachos, all the meat that you want. All right. Number three, Billy, hit us with it. Sliders. So, and I'm talking. This is Billy's like, oh, that sounds good. I'm not talking. I'm talking about whatever sliders you want, pastrami sliders, whatever it is, barbecue bacon sliders, whatever it is, sliders. Billy, hit us with number four. Number four is meat lover pizza. So,
meat lover specifically, pizza in general.
Pizza in general. Pizza in general. So go ahead and hit us with the next slide, Billy. This is all four. So we got buffalo. Why are y'all laughing at my graphics right now? My graphics are phenomenal. Y'all hate it.
Yo, Ryan is so proud of himself.
I am very proud. I'm mad at y'all all laughing at me like that. Whatever.
Oh my God.
But anyways, some of y'all can get in the comments. So this is what we got. So I'm gonna start with Billy. What you getting rid of, Billy?
Man. Okay, well, all these are great. So can I actually go like later? This one's hard.
No, heck no, bro.
No.
He ain't mad. You make fun of his clip
I'm
art.
gonna go sliders because I can keep a real burger instead of sliders. So I'm going sliders. The others are great party food, easy to grab.
Well, a slider is easy to grab, bro. That's why it's a slider.
Hey, shout out to Kimberly. I'm proud of your graphics, babe.
Oh, that's my boo-boo.
Hey, that's because she probably helped you with this, man.
Thank you, boo-boo. Thank you. Oh wait, she put wings has to go. Wait, no, there we go. I'm gonna put that. That's the one I want.
Oh,
All
that's
right,
funny.
cool. All right, so Billy's getting rid of sliders. What you getting rid of, Steve?
You guys gonna be mad.
You bet. Wait, hold on.
You better not.
say wings.
You better not.
Gotta
say-
go.
Oh, I'm pulling your
They
black card.
gotta go.
Steve, do we got a booing sound?
Yeah,
Because
said
we need
wings?
we
but
need-
they're hot.
Yeah,
Just-
thank you.
yeah,
Crickets. Thank you.
yeah.
You said
I like hot
wings,
food, but it's just too much sauce. It's a mess.
but you can do dry rub. We just said wings. He didn't say like buffalo wings.
Well,
They said buffalo wings.
I'm still confused on
He
how
also
the
said
black
meat
guy
lovers
said-
pizza. We talking
have
about
to
Ryan here. All right, let's.
He said buffalo wings, right? I
I'm-
like wings. but
I'm still confused on how the black man said chicken has to go.
Why does he have to like chicken?
I like chicken. I don't like buffalo.
Billy is woke in the background. Why he got like chicken?
How dare you assume?
Oh my
It's
goodness.
the buffaloed part. I don't want it buffalo. I
Okay,
like
wait. We
wings.
need to clarify though. We need to clarify. Is
All
it
right,
buffalo wings or is it just wings in general?
Wings, man, why did it be so
Oh, I
difficult?
thought you just clearly said.
No, because details matter, Ryan. Okay, so Steve, let's
guys.
let's
Oh,
redo this.
It's way too
Okay.
nitty gritty technical. right
Okay,
now.
somebody say hello, Miss Timmons. Somebody's give you a shout out, honey. All right, go ahead, AJ.
Okay, well, did Steven properly answer the question? Because it's just wings.
So
I
do
need
I
to
need
know.
to know because it's not buffaloed anymore? You
It's
know
just
you
wings.
It's just wings.
It's just wings. Okay, we'll get rid of the sliders. Sliders out of here.
Okay, because I need to know
I
moving
think we just
forward.
talked Steven into that, but whatever.
Well, no, I need to know moving forward how I was going to look at Steven in his eyes after he said getting rid of chicken wings.
Oh man. All right.
All right, yeah, I'm getting rid of the sliders. Got to go because that's Billy. I give me a whole burger. Burger, it's fine. Yeah, peace. Sliders got to
If
go.
I want a burger, I want a full one, not like a bite size.
Yeah, I'm not no kid. Not like a kid to you.
Okay.
I'm
all
a
right.
grown man.
I'm
I'm
a
a
grown
grown-
boy.
All right, so if I'm gonna get rid of one, let me imagine myself being at a party right now. If I'm at a party and I see all these on the table, which one would I'm not gonna pick? I'm probably gonna go with the nachos
That's probably my second choice.
because nachos. I mean,
I
it
mean, you
takes
have to
work.
be, yeah.
It takes work unless you're
It
gonna
needs
give
a
me
plate.
you need a plate. You need. Are you
You
gonna
need a
make the
fork.
nachos? Sometimes you got to make the nachos. So I mean, if my boo boo is here and she
love
serves me up a platter of nachos, of course.
Here we go.
But-
Now I say, oh my boo boo, because she watching now.
She in the building right now. So I'm so kind of happy that's kind of cool though. You know, she watched you boy live right now. Live. I'll be home in a little bit, boo. Live. All right, so let me go through the comments real quick before we'll hop off audio. Let's see
Oh,
what
my
everybody's
goodness.
saying. So we got Billy, just start putting them up on the screen. Start from the top. We got pizza gotta go. Pizza gotta go. Wifey said wings gotta go. Wifey don't like getting her fingers dirty, you know. Sliders. Somebody said nacho gotta go. Sliders, wings, sliders.
Somebody said
wings,
Ryan can't eat all the nachos without a bathroom break. Baby bladder.
Oh, y'all got jokes. I'm mad at y'all talking about your boy. One thing that I did not see, which is interesting, is nobody said pizza. So pizza.
Yeah, you can't get rid of pizza.
That's good in any
I think
situation.
it's because y'all see that lovely clip art that I added on there. It just
No.
made y'all just want pizza right now. So
This
shout out.
stock image of pizza ain't no.
Yeah. And I actually think like cold pizza or reheated pizza the next day is better than fresh.
No,
I think
I don't know
pizza-
why.
Oh,
people
here we
think
go,
that.
Billy feeding that.
No.
Microwave pizza the next day? Come on.
He's like, come on, guys.
So good.
I gotta get
Mm-mm.
somebody.
Mm-mm.
Hey, you know, all I appreciate you guys so much. I can't keep telling you guys how much I appreciate you. This podcast, like I said, is growing and it's only because of you. And so thank you. Seriously, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I know my wife, she's on here. I know she appreciates it because I'm out of the house. AJ's away from his wife, Billy's away from his wife.
Mhm.
We're all away from our significant others and stuff like that. And so we do that to be with you. So thank you guys for supporting this podcast. The only thing I would ask of you guys is that way you guys just continue to like this podcast, share it with your friends, your family members, put it on your Facebook page, put it on your YouTube, take clips of it on Instagram, whatever. This is our content, but it's also yours. But we need you guys to do that because that helps us grow. So with that being said, anybody got anything in closing? If you guys need any prayer requests, whatever it is, you guys know we are praying family.
Yep.
Make sure you guys send those prayer requests out to us because we will pray for you guys. I promise you, you guys are as family just like everybody else. So with that being said, we love y'all and we'll see y'all next week.
Peace.